Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent black people. Some of you may be watching from the Black Love channel also. We want to say good morning to Jermaine and Magically Me and Jada Miles and Pusha T. How you doing? Alicia?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, boys. How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. We're about, how many days from the big day?
Okay, today is Tuesday.
And we get married on
Tuesday,
Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got 3 days, boys.
Yeah, 3 days till the big wedding day.
Oh, finally.
What? Yeah, we went down to get the marriage certificate. And I know millions of people do this, but I felt it was heavy, like to be in there signing that marriage certificate.
We
Isn't that
had to
crazy?
swear. We had to swear that everything was accurate. That was surprising to me.
Yeah, we had to hold up our hands and solemnly swear that we. What was it? I think that what was it? They asked us. You have to swear you're not related.
We had to swear that we're not related. We had to swear
Oh, that you're not married
that
to
you're
someone
not
else.
already married to someone else. I guess that polygamy in
Hmm.
that way is not looked favorably upon. That's illegal, right? To be married to different people.
Yeah, I don't even
I
think they
think
call it.
so.
I thought they called it bigamy
Bigamy, yeah, you're
because
right.
Fred Sanford used to talk about it. I don't know why I heard it on Sanford or something.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
the last one they
What
asked was about
else?
child support.
They did ask about child support.
Yeah, that's weird that you can't owe child support and get married. I didn't know that was.
What's the thinking behind that?
See, that's messed up. I don't know. I don't get that
That's
though.
embarrassing
That's very
because you have to.
embarrassing. And kind of messed up because because the other thing too is like when you swear to the court or you swear to, we were in the courthouse and we swore to the,
In the courthouse.
yeah,
Yeah.
so then they could pick you and take you up on charges because you made
I
a
think it
promise.
might be illegal. They got us down.
Yeah, if you lied to the government, like they treat that's a heavy crime.
So I think like getting a marriage license is not just a simple thing. It's a process, right?
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, thank
Anyway.
you all for the congratulations. We appreciate it, and we'll keep you guys posted. We're gonna try to actually run a live stream of the wedding. I'm working with the videographers, so if you want to watch it, if you go to the blacklovechannel.com, make sure you go there and subscribe. That's a YouTube channel we have where Alicia and I talk about love, relationship issues, stuff like that. But she's actually the relationship therapist. I'm just a guy who has his 2 cents said, and
What's
it's
I think that's called the armchair therapist.
there we go, there we go, and it's
Is
a
that a derogatory
I
term?
prefer to call it the lazy boy or the lazy boys. How about that?
The lay therapist. You could be a lay therapist, boys.
Yeah, shoot, you don't think I learned none of these 50 years? I watched my parents stay married for 46 years.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so
Uh
that
huh.
that ain't no better teacher than the world.
They definitely have a lot of wisdom.
Yes, they do. Hey,
Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about Ti and Tiny. We've been people probably getting mad like y'all beating around the bush. Ti Tiny. All right, so let's do a quick poll, everybody. As you hit the thumbs up button, please hit that thumbs up button right now. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Um, Ti Tiny, guilty or not guilty? Type it in the chat. Nabo, Cynthia M, Jarrell, Miss D, Violently Blessed. Ti Tiny, guilty or not guilty? We just saw a story today about Ti Tiny. It looks like things got a little bit more heated for them. So everybody in the chat, let's take a vote among intelligent black people. Guilty or not guilty? Okay. Willie
What
says
people
not
say?
guilty. Hadia says not guilty.
Mm.
Ralph not guilty. Lavelle. Okay. So some of y'all don't even know. Some of y'all may not even be aware.
So we got a lot of not guilties, though. We don't want to see this happen. We don't want to see them go down.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sharnita says guilty, but a lot of you are saying not guilty. And
Yeah.
all right, so I assume you guys are aware. If you're not aware, Ti and Tiny, Ti Clifford, aka Ti Harris,
You're going to use his
and his
government
wife
name.
Tiny. What's her name? Tiny. What's Tiny's real name? Does anybody know Tiny's real name? Let me stop looking up. I get it. Let me know. Give me a yes or no if you can still hear me to make sure I'm still coming through. Um, I'm on another screen. Tamika, duh.
Oh, Tamika. That's right.
Yeah, Tamika.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recently her didn't Escape do a versus. Somebody said Miss Muppet. You ain't right. Remember they used to joke and say she can remind them of Miss Piggy. That's mean. I swear that ain't even. You shouldn't say it about somebody's wife, man. That ain't right. That ain't right.
She's cute, Miss
You
Piggy.
know what? God bless her. If she gave that man what 5 kids,
She had 5 children with him.
4 or 5, somebody they got a lot of kids.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, okay.
yeah. Like so as far as I'm concerned,
And that's what makes this story tragic. There's kids involved.
yeah, yeah,
This is bad.
yeah. Well, when you give a man 5 kids, as far as I'm concerned, you're officially goddess
Oh
status.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a god because men can't give life to another person. Like men can plant the seed. Don't get me wrong. We matter.
Uh-huh.
We got to inject the baby juice,
Oh
but
Lord.
we got it's better than the
That's so
government
funny.
shot. It's not like the vaccine. It's better than the vaccine. It's the
Uh,
Maxine or
uh,
the Dixine. How about that? Oh, that was kind of graphic. I shouldn't have said
yeah,
that.
why is this it's an early morning voice.
I know. Oh my God. Oh
Language.
my God. So we help make the baby, but the woman carries the baby. The woman gives life to the child. Like I think that's really important. I just think it's important to reflect on that, on the significance of that, because I don't think we respect that enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not until you have a baby that you realize how significant it is. It's like you kind of know, but you don't really know until you go through it or see it or
Hmm.
experience it. You don't. It's a miracle that's happening probably right now. Right now, there are a bunch of babies being born right now. These
Hmm.
are all miracles. Like,
Yeah,
how does this happen?
yeah.
Yeah,
Carmelita says they only have 3 together. Okay, so 3.
but still,
That's still that. I still think that's. I mean,
one. They can have
yeah.
one. It's still amazing.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about I'll reflect on that later. Well, let's dig back into
Okay.
Ti and Tiny, but
Mm-hmm.
I do know, like when I saw my niece on the beach and she's sitting there playing on the beach and she's learning words, and I remember when my brother and his wife decided to even create her.
And
And
that's
I was thinking
something.
about how she's gonna have this whole long life. Like one day she'll be some doctoral student writing her dissertation, reflecting on her life, living like everybody else. And she doesn't. Maybe it's interesting how a lot of us only exist because somebody made a decision to put in the work to create you, carry you for 9 months, and give birth to you. They could have made the decision to not do it at all, to not
Mm-hmm.
get pregnant, or to get an abortion. You know what I mean? There's a lot of just little decisions that were made that gave you the chance to exist.
Yeah, that's what makes us all unique individuals because
Hmm.
if you had gotten pregnant at a different time, if your parents got pregnant at a different time, you'd be a different person. It's
That's
all just
true.
all these different variables.
That's true. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Christopher said you just went totally off topic,
We
and Felicia
did.
said she's logging off. Well, goodbye, Felicia. Have a wonderful day.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, bye, Felicia. Everybody say bye, Felicia. All right, bye, Felicia. We love you, girl. All right. So anyway, let's jump back in. Let's talk. Let's dig back in. I mean, I just yeah, I might talk about the topic, but I like to talk about life and learn from it. I ain't really trying to sit here and just gossip about somebody's life. But here's the thing about Ti and Tiny: they are accused of sex trafficking. They're accused of forcibly of kidnapping,
Boy.
forcibly injecting women. It looks like mostly women. I haven't seen any men in the accusations. Men don't get to accuse women of anything because that was the case. Maybe Cardi B would have a long list of accusers. I wonder who her accusers are. Who are basically saying that they drugged the women, um, maybe some assaulted them. They talked
Ooh.
about kidnapping. They talked about threatening them, terroristically threatening them if they,
Oh.
yeah, if they were to go to the police. And and again, it's interesting. Somebody said, Shay said, "See, this is why you should only swing with white women.
What?
White women be the worst. Look at Bill Cosby." I mean, I'm not
I don't
saying
get
white women.
that.
I'm not saying you should swing with any women, but I mean, come on now. Don't act like Becky can't make some accusations. She'll
Well,
accuse
Becky makes a lot of accusations, but
Becky is allowed to accuse you of some shit with no evidence from 30 years ago and still get $1 million check off of that. That's insanity. That's crazy to me.
yeah, but I'm thinking about these victims that
Yes,
are coming
alleged
together.
victims.
Right. So we will let the legal process take place. But if they did this to in two different states at this point, if they had been doing this for many, many years in Georgia and in California, and it is actually accurate, let that shine and let them go down. Because that is
You
awful.
Well,
Awful.
I
If
think
they did
I
it.
think that what works against Ti and Tiny. Now the LAPD is involved. I don't know what that's gonna mean one way or the other. It was
LAPD is so corrupt, though.
the
They have a
LAPD.
history of
They are
corruption.
corrupt. They are corrupt. But that'll be they corrupt every single time, right?
Yeah.
But then again, though, I will say this. I think we have to always remember, though, an accusation is still an accusation.
Mm-hmm.
Now what does kind of make it interesting is when you have a lot of accusations,
Yes.
right? Now, on one hand, that does give the appearance of additional guilt. But we got to remember, you and I are statisticians, and you got to remember the difference in correlation and causation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but it's not quite a correlational issue, but it's an issue where it says just because a bunch of people say the same thing, does that necessarily make it more true? Because of the fact that credibility is kind of undermined. If, for example, let's say that with Cosby, for example, a lot of the people accusing Cosby of drugging them were drug addicts. So what does that mean when you're accused of drugging a drug addict, and a drug addict is the one who's making the accusation? Drug addicts need money. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Y'all tell me yes or no. Is crack free yet, or do they take food stamps, or does crack cost money? Right. So drug addicts need money, right? So if you make this wide announcement that says, "Hey, we got three people who made an accusation. We need more for the lawsuit." Like lawyers will do this. They'll advertise a case. They'll say, everybody who has an accusation, sign on to this lawsuit, and you might get a big chunk of you might get $500,000 out of it,
Well, see,
right?
I think.
So hold on, let me
Uh-huh.
and then I'm gonna let you. Then I want you to talk
Oh, I
about that.
thought you were done with your
No,
point.
I
Okay.
apologize.
You
I'm
made one point. Now you're going on to
right. You're
another
right.
one.
I'm a little long winded. I apologize.
Okay.
I acknowledge that. So that's my thing though. You got these drug addicts who need money, who hear about this lawsuit being advertised, and they're the standard of proof isn't necessarily that high. It's like all you need is a story. All you need is a story. Anybody can make up a story.
Okay. So now I got two
Okay, now go
things.
ahead, please respond. Go ahead.
The thing is that if, okay, let's just assume you've been assaulted. Okay, sexually assaulted. There is so much shame. There is so much self blame. There's so much guilt. There's so many embarrassing. There's so many emotions that accompany someone who has been assaulted. It makes it become where a lot of people experience this and they don't report it because they feel like, okay, it was just me. Okay, I was using drugs and this person um, assaulted me. And so I don't
Mm-hmm.
even deserve to come clean about it. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
deserve, this person did this to me over and over again. And because I'm using drugs, I'm not even worthy of a trial. So a lot of silent victims are out there. And so when you notice, and I have seen this, where you
Mm-hmm.
notice, oh my goodness, this person is not only doing it to me, but they also did it to a bunch of other people. It gives you more of a courage to tell your story. Now, what I know is that when people come and they say, here's my story, he did this to me, lawyers are very skeptical. They said, who can corroborate
I
this?
think
Who
lawyers
can be
they might be skeptical, but they're more money hungry than they are
Yeah,
skeptical.
but at the same time, they don't their reputation is on the line. They don't want to have frivolous people come. They have to verify their story and say, is there any evidence of this? Are you really
Mm-hmm.
sure you're one of them? Like, lawyers are licensed professionals. They can't just willy-nilly put witnesses out there that are not credible, so they actually, and this is another reason why a lot of women in particular who are sexually assaulted don't come forward, because
Mm-hmm.
they have to endure this scrutiny, yet they're traumatized by what's happened, and it's emotionally damaging. It really hurts to come clean. So just for the victim side, I'm just saying, if it is actually true, this is the reason why people don't come forward. They don't come forward. It's a
Well,
sad legal
Well,
process.
I'm not gonna deny that at all, right? Like I
Yeah.
think that's totally true. And the thing is that I think that when we define that to be solely a female issue,
It's not a
I think it
female
might be incorrect.
issue.
Right, right,
Right.
right, right. Because
Men in particular
yeah,
don't
yeah.
come
Because let
forward.
me tell you a personal story. I got a personal story about a
Yeah.
crime that happened to me and how it
Yeah.
all went down. It was a woman that committed this crime against me. I've never told this story before, but I had an ex a very long time ago when I was in my 20s, and we were parting ways. It wasn't no drugs or nothing involved, but we were parting ways. And one thing that she knew about me was that I was generous. Like I would share my money with her, and whatever. And I think that she knew that because we were parting ways, that I would no longer give her any money, because I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna. like keep giving you money if you're not, if you done went off with this other dude.
Mm.
And in the middle of the night, she when I was asleep, she took my wallet, took my credit card, and went to the store and bought like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. Now back then I was broke. I mean, that was broke boys. That wasn't, the voices today. And so when that happened, I called the police. And I
Mm.
called the police and I said, this is what happened. She took my credit card and she spent, and there's proof, blah blah blah. And what the police said, the cop kind of laughed at me. He was like,
Oh, that's terrible.
the cop was kind of like, so this was a woman you were sleeping with? And I said, yeah, yeah, and it was my ex-girlfriend. It wasn't like I was with a hooker. I was with my girlfriend. We'd been together, right, for a while. And he said, and he just kind of was like, yeah, yeah, okay, so the lady you were sleeping with took your money. So it was like kind of this idea that says that because you were probably in some old BS to begin with, we're not taking this seriously because you were probably doing something shady anyway. So he kind of just laughed it off. And
Yeah.
and I was in my 20s. I didn't know how to respond to that. But I think that's probably what Cardi B's victims feel. Cardi B, that's why Cardi B doesn't have 40 or 50 men lined up saying she drugged and robbed and raped me, because they're embarrassed, or they're maybe not going to be taken seriously, because they might be like, well, what were you doing in the club anyway? Why was you going home with this hooker anyway? Why was you messing with dope anyway? Right. So I think they do that to men and women. What do you think?
It's victim blaming. I mean, you're a victim and they're saying, oh, well, you were with her anyway. You were leaving yourself vulnerable. I think that's terrible. And women go through that as well as men. Men just don't come forward. I'm really applaud you for even calling the police, because a lot of men just kind of bury that information. A lot of men get physically abused too.
Mm,
Physically abused, financially abused. It's really terrible. And it's illegal too.
hmm
Yeah. We need to stop this.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, guys, hit the thumbs up button right now. To everybody, take 1 second. Can you please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button, share this video, any channel you're on. We're trying to promote intelligent blackness, because they promote so much ignorance in the media, and we need y'all to be our soldiers of intelligence. That should be a thing.
Ooh,
SOI,
I'm a
soldier,
soldier for
soldiers,
intelligence.
soldiers of intelligence and leadership. Oh my God, soil. We got to plant the soil. I just came up with that.
Oh, aren't
Well,
you
my
brilliant?
brain just does
Oh,
stuff in the morning. I can't even explain it. I just had my so soil. So we gotta fertilize the soil. I need some soldiers of intelligence and leadership to
mm-hmm.
share the video. Please, please, please hit the like button, share button, subscribe button. So if you're part of the soil, type the word soil in the chat. You put a hashtag on it if you want to, because we got to plant the soil. We need new soil in our community.
We got to get rid of the weeds.
Yes, because they put that the wheat.
Ignorance
Yes,
is the weeds that's just taking over.
they are planting weeds and crap in our community. And
Yeah.
like that's why like our people that are seen as our so-called leaders are like the dumbest sons of bitches that you've ever saw. Like seriously, like how's this dude who can't even spell his mama's name considered a black leader? Oh, because he had a hit record and everybody thinks that's important. Seriously,
And
did
we're
you
going
know?
to look for him
oh,
for some intelligence.
oh my God, babe, oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Just the other day, this is I'm by the way, warning, voice is gonna go off subject for about 30
Oh,
seconds. We're gonna get back to Ti and Tiny, but
mm-hmm.
check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky Dillard was going back and forth with Tamika Mallory, right?
Uh-huh.
The president of the National Action Network, Al Sharpton's organization. I don't know this guy's name. He's Reverend something, some insignificant pastor, but he's the president of the National Action Network. He literally said something like, Tamika Mallory has 167,000 Twitter followers. Vicky Dillard only has 16,000. LOL. And I was like, "Are you serious? Like you really think black leadership is a popularity contest? Like you really think that the people who have the most followers on Twitter or YouTube are really your black leaders?" Well, if you think that way, then that explains exactly why your community is so jacked up right now. That's why black people are going backwards, because you got the wrong people that we're being told to listen to. Don't listen to somebody just because they on TV or just because they had a hit record. That's BS. That's stupid. So anyway, so let's plant the soil. We're gonna keep that acronym: Soldiers of Intelligence and Leadership. So put the hashtag soil in the chat if you agree. Thank you, Davita and Bakari. All right, so let's jump back in. All right, so
Okay.
Ti and Tiny. All right, so what do you think? I mean, do you think that Ti? I mean, I know. Here's the thing, right? I think evidence matters.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
It does.
I think that, like, it's like, look, you have a lot of crazy stories from a lot of people. They're very sad stories. And I believe what the lawyers are looking for is the money. They ain't really looking for no real justice. I think they're filing charges to help their credibility of their case. I don't think, or trying to file charges. I bet the LAPD is going to be like, we don't have any proof. So I think the LA, I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna add up to anything. What do you think? Do you think? What do you guys think? You guys
I don't
answer
have.
in the chat, and then
Okay.
Alicia, I'd like to get your analysis on. Do you think that this is going to lead to charges against Ti and Tiny, or do you think there's kind of like just a bunch of investigations and allegations? What do y'all think? Go ahead, babe.
Yeah, I don't have any evidence that the lawyers are just looking for money. Like it would have to be, I know that this happens, but based on, did you read the article? I don't have any evidence based on what I saw in the article that that's what they're doing. So if we don't have evidence of that, then we can't just assume that, oh, they're just looking out for money. I mean, there are lawyers who are actually want justice to be done, but there's no evidence of the contrary. So we don't really know about that. We're just speculating. But I would like for, there's a lot of hands in the pot when it comes to actually putting someone in jail for a crime. You know, you have to gather your evidence, you have to get testimony, you have to have a trial, you have to have, you know, you have to lawyer up, you have to. So I wish that the law process would be would have a great sense of integrity in the process that they do. So maybe I'm putting my hopes and dreams in this system. I
Mm-hmm.
hope that this system works out because for the victims, if there actually are victims, you know, for the victims, because how awful is it to be kidnapped and drugged and abused and raped and all of that? Can you imagine? These are young women. Can you imagine how awful that would be if it
Mm-hmm.
was actually happening to them? So I want accuracy. I'm looking for accuracy, you know,
Yeah,
and
and truth.
and, you know, based on what we have heard, because we know some people who know them, we don't know them, but we know people who know them. It is possible based on what
Mm-hmm.
some stories we've heard. We won't share them or say them, but, you know, we've
Mm-hmm.
heard some stories that says, it is possible.
Yeah, I think it's like the thing to remember with an accusation is that
Hmm.
accusations can be so damning. Like even
Yeah,
even
it can be.
announcing the investigation in the media, the way I mean it was covered by over 100 different white-owned media outlets, and I felt the need for us to cover it because I believe that we have a greater ability to be fair to them
Oh,
than
yeah.
white media will be. Right? I think that they're probably annoyed. They're probably mad. You know, because I think Tamika was Tiny was trying to distract away from it by doing her versus thing. I think she was Escape, right? Is that her group?
Escape. Yeah, that was the group. What you
Yeah, and
talking
then
about
they were
now?
gonna do a versus with one of those other SW was it SWV.
Oh, SWV. That'd be great.
I think I can't remember. I get it mixed up. I don't watch none of those verses to be honest with you. I watched them for like 10 minutes. Even E40, one of my favorite rappers, I watched him for like 5 minutes and then I turned it off. But his sister Sugar T, people don't know she's still out there. I talked to Sugar T for 2 hours, and she has a lot to say. That is a smart black woman. And so anyway, I don't know E40 though. I never met him, but I did meet Ti in Ghana. We were in Ghana last year, and right before the pandemic, and him and Tiny were together and with their daughter, and they and Cardi B actually, ironically, Cardi B was in town in Ghana. Like so,
Well, so
yeah. So
he's
they
associated with Cardi B, and you
well,
just said what you had to say about Cardi B.
that's true, and that's kind of messed up, right? Like that's but remember, guilt by association is not guilt,
It's
right?
not, but
Right.
we're just looking at evidence,
Looking at information, right?
information.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like I think also, you know, as a person who is I'm a big fan of Ti's music. Like I think his music is real. He's one of the most talented rappers of all time. Like if he got, you know, I'm glad he lived. You know, he's living a long life. But if he had died at Tupac's age, I think people would look at him the way they look at Tupac. Like
Oh,
he's
really?
oh,
He didn't
Tip
have
Tip is
Tupac
nice.
status, right?
Tip is nice. I
Okay.
was big fans of both of them, like big fans, to where I listened to their music on repeat and analyze them. And I put him up over Pac. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but you know I think Pac has the advantage of being kind of, you know, because he died. People are like, oh well, you can't be touched because you're dead.
Well, you know, Tupac had that accusation, the rape accusation. You know,
Yeah.
he had some issues. So, ooh,
Well, you
you
know
know.
that, and that's the thing. That's the thing about hip hop, right? Like I would never want to be a rapper because hip hop is it's a dangerous place to be for a lot of reasons. Like you dream about being a rap star, right? But when you get in the middle of that, there's so much crazy energy in that space, um, driven by the types of people you attract. Like if you're rapping about gangster stuff, then you're gonna attract gangster stuff. You're gonna attract, you
Mhm.
know, crazy groupies and just people, all kinds of crazy people around you. But then, because the person that made me really think about that a lot was Method Man. When I was on a
Mm,
Stephen A. Smith show with Method Man a long time ago, the one thing Meth said was, he said, when you're on top, everybody's coming at you. Because we were talking about Tupac and why,
mm-hmm.
how Tupac died, and he said, when you're on top, everybody's coming at you, and so you're drawing the energy though, right? You're sending out this signal, and everybody's responding, and you're rapping, I'm a gangster, I'm a killer, I'm a thug. So the gangsters, the killers, and the thugs say, okay, so you're just like me, right? So then you've got this crazy energy around you, and then on top of that, you've got this mentality that we all feed into, that says that if you're a famous rapper, anything goes for you. Remember, hip hop is the only space where men are allowed to say certain things that you can't say nowhere else.
And also rock and roll. What are those
Yeah,
metal band? What is it called?
but heavy metal,
Heavy
yeah.
metal bands or whatever. I mean, they do some lewd stuff. They do some stuff that rappers don't ever do. Like
Well,
bite the head off of a
of a bat.
bat, and
Oh,
I mean
that's
they do
nasty.
some treacherous stuff, but they never go down. What's up with that? Where we got the hip hop police? Where's the heavy metal police? Because ain't nothing but drugs and rape and all that stuff happening in
Well,
that space.
that is true. That is
Come
true.
on,
There should be heavy metal
heavy
police
metal
for sure,
police. We
for
need it.
sure, for sure, for sure. And I agree. It's a racial element for sure.
Yeah.
But then also remember, like when you're rapping about, like, I got 5 AK-47s. They're all illegal. I just shot two, two dudes last week on 33rd Street. And I
Just
got
giving yourself away.
Molly and Percocet in my car everywhere I
Oh
go.
Lord.
Well, then that, to me, that makes you're making yourself low hanging fruit for the cops, right? And Ti doesn't really do this as much in my view, but the young guys really do it. Like they literally self incriminate on their music. They did you remember that documentary we watched about Takashi 6ix9ine?
That was a heck of a document. It's on Hulu, I think.
Yeah, that was a
Really,
good,
really good.
very insightful.
But you know what? He wasn't necessarily rapping what he was living.
No, he
He
wasn't.
just knew that this is what I need to rap about to be famous. He was really brilliant in that way.
He was brilliant, but then at the same
Ooh.
time though, he put himself in a crazy situation. Like he took what he
Mm.
did was, and that was the thing. But for him, it was kind of racial because he's basically white, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go to these black people that are Bloods, and I'm going to use the brand, the globally
Yep. Put the camera
recognized
in
brand,
front.
brand of the Bloods to elevate my
Hmm.
career and do this crazy video. It's called Gummo. Some of y'all might know it. You should check it out. And it was all fake. Like they literally, when you went behind the scenes, everything that people thought was real was totally fake.
Yeah, yeah, that was that documentary, and just his life story was like fascinating. But I was a little kind of taken aback. I wish he would have been in the documentary, like said something to
Mm.
defend himself, because they kind of came down on him, almost like he was someone who used people to get ahead.
Yeah,
And
but
I don't know.
but this dude talks a lot on Instagram anyway. If you ever want to hear his point of view, just go on Instagram.
No, I
He's
got
like,
better things to do than
right.
but
He's
the documentary was fascinating about his story, how he grew up, and all of that neglect and abuse probably. Hmm.
well, a lot of that comes out of abusive homes and terrible experiences. But I think with Tip, one of the things I think about Ti and Tiny that makes me feel bad for them is, like, and I said this as a fan of Ti, is I listened to his music for many years. I listened to it very closely, and I can't justify every lyric that's in those songs. When
Hmm.
and the thing about it is, whether you like it or not, when you say certain things about women or about violence or about drugs or whatever, and you're in hip hop where people kind of think that that's you're really rapping about your real life, then people are going to make that assumption that must be your real life. When you rap about all the women that you doing stuff with, all the drugs, the guns and all that, and it spills over, right? It spills over, and it has. Ti's faced a lot of years in prison, so it's as tough as he's coming out as. He's a tough guy. He comes off to me like a guy that's got a lot of mental toughness. I see that, right?
You see toughness, but I see him covering up an insecurity.
That too, yeah,
Because that toughness is just a shell. Like, to be tough, you don't have to walk around, I'm tough. You
right.
just embrace yourself. And
That's
so
true.
underneath that, I really do wonder about, how he's doing. I mean, look at him. We next time we go to Atlanta, we're gonna go to the Trap House Museum,
Okay.
because didn't he create, well, according to the youth, they don't think he created trap music, but we should go there. I think it'd be interesting thing to look at for
Yeah,
intelligent Black people.
yeah. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? I think I'll do that. I'll be glad to do that. And I think it's And you're right. You're right. I think that I have no doubt that Ti has PTSD. You know, because some of the
Yeah.
things he saw as a kid, you shouldn't see as a child. You know, and I think that PTSD. You know, you just find your coping mechanism. Sometimes it might be drugs. You know, or sometimes it might be the tough man persona.
Or sometimes it could be in your sexual lifestyle.
Or it could be,
It
yeah,
could be
that's
an addiction in that way
mm,
where, you're not satisfied unless it's under these circumstances that harm people.
or some form of domination.
Right.
Yeah,
Because you feel, so there's something there
you know
that's possible. We
that's a,
don't know. I don't know him. But
that's an interesting point that you can imagine that if you have been in situations where you've been victimized before,
yeah.
you never want to give that power up. You always want to have the power in every scenario
Hmm.
that you're in. I can see that playing out. So not to say this plays out in their sex, we don't even know. We
Well, I mean, he was pretty open about he said, didn't he in his
he has
talk that he was pretty open about they have a kind of like alternatives lifestyle,
yeah he has talked about that.
you
He has
know?
talked about that.
So where does it end?
That's true, but no, but and that's and that well, that's true. Where does it end? And
Hmm.
the other part too is that works against him. And again, this is not guilt though. That works against him is you have talked about how you and your wife do the swinging thing, which is fine. And, I guess people do all whatever they do, but then also in your music, you present yourself as a guy who will engage in criminal activity to take you down or take you out if necessary, right? Like
Oh, is
if
that
you
what he
well, if you listen again, if you take rappers seriously, which is this is
are
why
they that sometimes are they that creative? Some of that stuff could be real.
some of it is real. I mean,
Uh-huh.
he's from the trap. Like, he had a whole debate online with Gucci about who came up with trap music first. And I think that's kind of sad, when black people would argue it over who represents our trap better than like we all live in the mouse trap and I'm proud of the trap. I ain't proud of no goddamn
Wait.
trap. I don't want to be in the trap. I want to get out of the trap. The trap to me is white supremacy. The trap to me was
Yes.
that stupid job where I worked for some white man who didn't respect me. The trap to me was being broke all the time. I don't want to be in the trap. I'll tell you about the trap, how to get out the trap, but I don't want black people to be like, I'm in the trap. I'm proud of being in the
And
trap.
proud of being in the trap.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
Dr. Claude Anderson used to talk about Porgy and Bess and how they
Oh,
had a song in Porgy and Bess. We gotta see that one
I
day.
love that. I love it. I love
Yeah,
Porgy and
where
Bess.
there's a
Hmm.
part there's a song apparently where the guy sings like he says, I got plenty of nothing and
And
nothing is
nothing's
plenty
plenty
for
for me.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like
It's a
that.
great
Like
song.
yeah,
But
like so
yeah.
I mean, I get it. I understand you
Hmm.
what you representing. But it's like when we gonna get the people out the trap? Like or if I do a video, right, where I'm in the hood with my Rolls Royce and everybody around me is wearing like dirty wife beater t-shirts and you got grown men riding bicycles and little kids with no shoes on, but they got
Running around at
they
2 o'clock in the
with a
morning.
big gold chain on their neck.
Yeah.
Like at what point do I say, okay, I represent this hood. So as a representative of this hood, it is absolutely my responsibility to use every corporate connection that I have anywhere to make this hood better, to create investment in the hood. Like to me, if you're a famous artist at a high level like a Jay-Z, you're from the Marcy Projects. You've been using the brand of the Marcy Projects for years. You've made $1 billion off the authenticity lent to you by being from the Marcy Projects. Well, if I go to the Marcy Projects, I shouldn't see no projects no more. I shouldn't see that. I should see a different community from the one that you grew up in. I should see businesses there. I should be able to find 5,000, 10,000 people there who have jobs where they can say, he rose up out the hood and he came back and got all of us. Or he got all his little corporations and his little white boys in Silicon Valley that are investing billions with him, starting Uber and shit. Those motherfuckers at Uber could go and flip the Marcy projects in 10 seconds flat. They have enough money in their spare change pocket that
Hmm.
they could go down there and literally resurrect that whole community in a day. Like so again, I'm not dissing. It's just more like it's a little bit of a frustration.
Yeah, because that sort of lifestyle. Okay, you don't want to be ashamed of where you come from. I come from Gary, Indiana, and anyone who drives through Gary, it's a sad state.
Oh
I'm
gosh.
not going to glorify some of the crime in Gary, but I'm also not going to be ashamed of where I come from because that's where I come from. But at the same time, yeah, you don't want to glorify and put this up on a pedestal. I mean, it's like you're trapped. It's like your mind is trapped. Free your mind and your ass will follow. That's what you need to do. That's what's trapped. And
Your
you
ass
can
is trapped. Well,
your
your
mind
mind
is
and your
trapped.
ass.
But it all starts with your mind.
Mm.
It starts there. And then when your mind is free, everything around you will change.
Free your mind and your ass will follow. I think those are excellent wise words for us to finish up on. By the way, so we got to run. We got to do some more wedding stuff. We're getting married on Friday. You can follow on Twitter, by the way. There's my Twitter, Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. You can also text the word Boyce to 31996, and I'll send you a notification periodically when we go live. And also, guys, if you want updates on the wedding, there is a website. I'll put it up here. And if we don't want any gifts. We actually created a foundation, the Boyce and Alicia Watkins Foundation, where we want to support independent Black-owned schools. That's it. We don't want to just support charter schools or white universities. We really want to find those Black educators who have Black-owned schools that can use a little bit of a boost, and we will raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for them, if not millions of dollars. So that's our mission. That's what we're gonna do. So we don't want any stuff. But if you want to learn about the wedding, you want to learn how to support the foundation, you can go to boyceandaliciawedding.com. There's the URL. So we're gonna live stream on Friday. The wedding's at 3, and you can subscribe to the Black Love channel if you'd like to watch the wedding live, and that's where we're going to stream it from. So have a good day, everybody. We out, and love you guys, and we will see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Oh, because it was clean clothes, I didn't want to put it on the floor.